This is the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla.
Barack Obama in power, and the Democrats in power who want amnesty and want the porous border. Obviously they want it, otherwise they would have been doing something about it. It's a very tough task.
As we celebrate America's birthday, who better to have on the show than Miss America? Erica Harold, Miss America 2003, is here, and she's running for Congress in the land of Lincoln. We'll talk to Erica Harold about her bid for Congress in Illinois. Sarah Palin will not waver, and she will not break. The same cannot be said about a slew of so-called Republicans who voted for amnesty this past week. Governor Palin called some of them out in no uncertain terms. The governor gets tough with pluff. Palin also outlines just how out of touch the administration is on so many levels. And once again, Sarah Palin is a staunch supporter of Troopathon. Just ahead, our latest edition of Steel Resolve with Sarah Steelman. But right now, an exciting candidate in Illinois running for Congress. She was Miss America in 2003 and has worked so hard for so many people while wearing the crown and after. She has fought to prevent youth violence and bullying, and now she's looking to fight for everyone in Illinois' 13th Congressional District. Erica Harold, welcome to the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sarah Palin has been attacked in every way possible since hitting the national stage, the way the left and the establishment and the media go after conservative principled women. It's visceral, it's often very strange, but it's always nasty. And here you are very early on in your candidacy, and already you had to stand up to some disgusting gutter tactics. So can you already feel at least a little bit what Sarah Palin has had to endure over the years?
My guess is probably no one can actually experience what Sarah Palin has had to endure, because I think the attacks that were leveled against her were probably unprecedented. But I think that any time you run for public office and you don't fit the stereotype of the kind of person people are used to voting for or a candidate, then I think people don't know exactly how to approach you. And so you have a burden to introduce yourself to people properly.
Now, you're known for your reign as Miss America, of course, but you are quite accomplished in other ways, too. University of Illinois, Harvard Law School, your work with W stands for Women. You're a director for Prison Fellowship. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're the right choice for Illinois.
Well, I have probably, like most people who want to serve in public office, it's something that I've wanted to do for quite some time. I was blessed to grow up in central Illinois with a very supportive family and feel very passionately about this district and feel like I have some opportunities and experiences that hopefully would make me a good candidate in Illinois. There are a lot of colleges and universities in the 13th district, and I think it's important to have someone who can relate to the concerns of young people. And for me, I want to start a conversation with young people and people who don't traditionally vote for Republicans about conservative principles, about things like limited government, lower taxes, why those things matter, and do so in a way that really engages people who aren't used to voting for our party.
You mentioned taxes, one of your top issues. What will you work for if elected when it comes to fiscal matters?
One of the things I'll be working for is trying to find a way to reduce the amount of regulations that are really crippling small businesses. Right now, I still do practice law, and healthcare is my specialty. And so I'm seeing firsthand how so many businesses are having to deal with the healthcare law, and it really is inhibiting companies' ability to hire people and be able to forecast their budgets in a proper manner. And these kind of regulations, I think, burden businesses in ways that cripple our economy and prevent us from growing and adding the jobs that are necessary.
Agriculture, big in your state and nationwide. What do we need to do to make sure our farms are thriving?
We do need a strong crop insurance because so many farmers have to deal with unpredictability and government intervention. And for family farms especially to be able to have their livelihood and be able to budget effectively, they have to have some crop insurance. But we also have to be looking at biofuels as well, because we have to figure out a way to be energy independent, and I think that biofuels offer a way of doing so.
The Constitution has been ignored by many in Washington these days. I mean, I was looking for the right word. That's all I could think of.
I was waiting to hear what word you might use.
Yeah.
Ignored, I think, is well put.
Right, without having to bleep me out, right? And these, I know you take constitutional rights very seriously. Our liberty and freedom has just been under attack. Governor Palin's been out there fighting for our rights. Tell us, Erica, what are your feelings on that great document, the Constitution as a whole, and more specifically the Second Amendment?
It's a foundational document, and I think it's something that should be required reading, not just once when people are taking 8th grade civics or history class, but it's something that we have to understand because that's where our rights come from in many respects in terms of the government. Obviously, there's natural law and we have rights that come from God, but in terms of our rights with the government, that is the document that has to be preserved. And I'm a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. I'm a strong supporter of all the amendments, though, because each one of those offer citizens protection. One of the amendments that's very important to me is the First Amendment and protection of religious liberty. That's an issue that I've worked with in my own legal career, and I think those rights are being encroached upon. And when it comes to the First or the Second Amendment or any of the amendments, we have to have people in Congress who understand those rights and are willing to stand up for them.
Sarah Palin clearly champions human dignity. All of her recent work at the Terri Schiavo Gala, just one example. Now, based upon your experiences, not only as a lawyer, but as a member of Prison Fellowship's Board of Directors, you have a unique perspective on human dignity.
I do. I've had the unique opportunity and blessing to serve on the board of directors of the late Chuck Colson's Prison Fellowship Ministries. And it's given me the opportunity to actually go into prisons throughout the country, maximum security prisons in many cases, which always makes my parents very nervous, actually going on to death row. And obviously we have to enforce laws and people have to be held accountable for their actions. But when we are trying to figure out how we're going to deal with our correctional system, I think it's as a conservative, we want to make sure that those resources are stewarded properly and that we get better outcomes. Right now, people are incarcerated. We have some of the highest incarceration rates in the industrialized world, and people come out no better equipped to be able to be functioning members of their society. And so I'd like to see us look at ways in which we could achieve better outcomes so that when people come out of prison, they are able to contribute to their society better. So it's not just about tax dollars, but it's also about restorative and rehabilitative justice.
Governor Palin has talked about getting quality candidates to run in primaries because, as we've seen all too often of late, it's not just Democrats, but many Republicans failing us in Washington. We saw a lot of this past week. So we need to weed them out through the primary process. So in a sense here, you're gearing up for hopefully 2 races. Are there special challenges to beating an incumbent from the same party?
I think that there are always challenges if you're challenging an incumbent, but in my situation, it's sort of a unique system because the incumbent was actually appointed by county chairman last time. The person who was the incumbent decided not to seek re-election, and so county chairman decided to appoint him to the nomination. So this actually will be sort of the primary that we should have had last time. And I think that primaries strengthen our party. In our party, we believe in a free market system. We believe that competition makes all the competitors stronger and produces better outcomes. And I think the same would hold true for primaries within our electoral process.
Now, do you expect them to come after you on frivolous things, considering that if it's, all about the issues, you'll probably be just fine here, right? Do you think we talked about what Governor Palin's gone through in the past. Do you feel they're going to come after you for, perhaps things you've done in the past, being a pageant person, being a woman, questioning your conservatism that we saw a couple of weeks ago? Are these the things you're ready for, or are you just ready to stick to the issues and talk to the people and not worry about the mudslinging?
Well, I'm sure that old pageant pictures will find its way into media, but I view having been Miss America an extraordinary honor where I had the opportunity to work with the USO and support the military, to go into schools and talk to young people about setting goals and making good choices, and to really see the best of our country. And so it also is a thing that enabled me to pay for Harvard Law School. So I'm sure that those pictures will come up, pictures of me in a crown, but it's a time in my life where I feel really proud of it. But I'm going to stick to the issues because I think that's what voters care about. I think they want to hear, do you have a solid framework of conservative principles, and are you the kind of person whose life experiences show that if we send you to Washington, you can stand up for what you believe in and have the courage of your convictions?
Okay, Erica. And the primary date?
It is March of 2014.
Okay, March 2014. And in the meantime, you're going to need a lot of help, I would think. And we got a long time ahead, but let's get the help to you as soon as possible. How can folks get on board here and join the campaign?
We would love to have any support that people would be willing to give, and you could go to the website, www.ericaharold.com. You can sign up to contribute. You can sign up to volunteer and get engaged with our campaign. We truly are a grassroots campaign, and having the support and the prayers of people throughout the country is something that we would really greatly appreciate.
You know, you're the second Miss America we've had on the show, Angela Baracchio Gray, the first.
She's fantastic.
Yeah, but you're certainly the first one running for Congress, and we wish you the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's an honor to be with you.
And let's talk again after you win, and I also hope you get your hands on the Stanley Cup at some point.
That would be exciting. I didn't get to actually see it pass by in the parade in Chicago, but I know it's exciting, and anyone in the state of Illinois, we're always happy when a sports team brings home the big trophy.
Listen, a perfect guest for Independence Day week, Miss America 2003, and congressional candidate Erica Harold. Thanks again, Erica.
Thank you so much for having me.
For more on Erica Harold and her candidacy, just go to ericaharold.com. That's Erica with a K, E-R-I-K-A, Harold, Harold.com. Before and after the Senate vote on amnesty this past week, Governor Palin weighed in. She called those supporting the measure from the GOP side out. She exposed the flip-flopping and bribes and outlined exactly why people can't trust politicians. Palin even wrote a piece for Breitbart News. After the vote on amnesty, Palin really spoke out. Of Marco Rubio, who Obama reportedly called to congratulate on immigration reform, Palin quipped, "Hope it was worth 30 pieces of silver." Palin slammed not just Rubio, but the entire GOP establishment, saying sarcastically, "Great job, GOP establishment," and then writing, quote, "You've just abandoned the Reagan Democrats with this amnesty bill. It was the loss of working-class voters in swing states that cost us the 2012 election, not the Hispanic vote. Legal immigrants respect the rule of law and can see how self-centered a politician must be to fill this amnesty bill with favors, earmarks, and crony capitalists' pork and call it good. You disrespect Hispanics with your assumption that they desire ignoring the rule of law," unquote. Sarah Palin also took on Obama lackey David Plouffe this past week after Plouffe's snarky tweet that read, "Scandals," and scandals in quotes, "falling apart, immigration moving apace, big leadership moment on climate tomorrow, President of the United States steady throughout, DCCW off again." Well, Palin addressed him head-on, asking through a tweet, "Is this all a game to you and your ilk? Your messiah's transformation of America is destruction of America." A Muslim scholar whose group supports Hamas and who has urged the UN to criminalize blasphemy and who is the deputy of an Egyptian cleric banned from the U.S., still got to visit the White House a few weeks ago. Sarah Palin asks, WTH is he doing in our White House? Radical leader supporting mission to kill our U.S. soldiers in Iraq gets warm welcome by Obama administration. Palin adds, amazing, the White House gates remain closed for school group tours, but open for those with ties to terror. Governor Palin also encouraged people to watch a Fox News special on Benghazi, keeping attention on yet another subject the administration and the media continue to sweep under the rug. Once again, Sarah Palin supported Troopathon, which sends care packages to our troops in combat zones. A great cause. You got to check it out, troopathon.org. Get all the information there, and if you can help, please do. These care packages really can lift the spirits of our brave service members. Now, to see any of the governor's posts in their entirety, you can visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page or follow her on Twitter at Sarah Palin USA. Now, our weekly commentary, Steel Resolve. Here's Sarah Steelman.
Thanks, Kevin. This past Friday, the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee met to vote on a resolution stating that Lois Lerner had waived her Fifth Amendment right. It's not a surprise that it was a party line vote of 22 Republicans to 17 Democrats, that she indeed did waive her Fifth Amendment right. We should applaud the House Oversight Committee for taking clear action. Most Americans believe that the IRS is out of control by targeting conservative organizations and careless and reckless, wasteful spending. We deserve answers. Since she clearly could not do what she did, and any citizen in a court of law would be held in contempt for not answering questions, she should be held to the same standard. The Committee on Oversight needs to take their resolution to the next level. She should be held in contempt and compelled to answer their questions. A process exists for the House to pursue this line of action, but it must be swift. And by the way, most taxpayers would appreciate it if Congress would cut her salary out of the budget and stop paying her while on administrative leave. The House is on the right track, but let's not delay. This is Sarah Steelman for SaraNet Radio.
Tune in again next week for another segment of Steel Resolve right here on the Palin Update. And don't forget, the Palin Update, including Steel Resolve, is now on demand and available for download. So just head to SaraNetRadio.net, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio. Visit SaraNetRadio.net for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, follow along on Twitter at SaraNet Radio, at Kevin Scholla, and at Sarah_Steelman. We're on Facebook, too, so like SaraNet Radio and like Kevin Scholla. Palin Patriots is our new feature on SaraNet.net. Check out the writings from our great panel of contributors, including Martha Zoller. And I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News. Just go to Breitbart.com and search Kevin Scholla. I want to thank Sarah Steelman and everyone here at SaraNet Radio. Thanks to Erica Harold, and thank you for listening today. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day, and happy Independence Day.